You are now listening to the Jca Sports Podcast.
DeMar DeRozan delivers! Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown! Turnover here. James and Cade. 2-on-1. Hustling back his point up a shot. Patrick Kane in overtime. Pitch is hit in the air. Deep to right. That ball is gone. White Sox win. The Field of Dreams! This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series! Bryant makes the play! It's over! And the Cubs have finally won it all!
This is the Jca Sports Podcast.
What up, everybody? You're listening to the Jca Sports Podcast. I'm here, Jose Contreras, alongside my co-host, Jonathan Polite. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, brother? Happy to be here. Happy to be in the same room.
Yep.
In case y'all can't tell.
Right. In case you can't tell, we're in the JCA studio, broadcasting live. And quite a show for you guys we have you tonight. It's Wild Mitch Wednesday, John. Wild Mitch Wednesday, man.
Today's for my boy.
That's right.
MT10, baby.
Yep, Mitchell Trubisky has found his new home. The former Bears number 2 overall pick is headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I like it. I love it. Matter of fact.
Trubisky signed a 2-year deal with the Steelers that starts with $14.25 million, but escalated up to $27 million in incentives.
Money Mitch.
It's not a huge deal. A team would offer a surefire starter, right? But it's a bit more than a run-of-the-mill backup would earn. And of course, I wanted to bring in John. I wanted to bring in Eric. When he hops on, he'll be hopping on very, very soon. The Steelers needed a new quarterback.
Absolutely.
Big Ben retired last season. They had Mason Rudolph. They have Dwayne Haskins, and they proved not to be, I guess, reliable.
They definitely proved to not be replacements.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, because we've seen Mason Rudolph play for the Steelers probably the last 2-3 years. I believe since 2019 he's been there, just playing because unfortunately Big Ben has got hurt a couple times, and then we've even seen Mason Rudolph lose his starting job and earn it back because his backup was just worse than him. Yeah, so it was definitely they needed a quarterback, and like you said, I mean Mitch, he's not getting paid starter money, but he's not getting paid backup money, so he's definitely signed to start. Definitely,
and he seems like he's a front runner for the job for sure. Between those three, I mean, why wouldn't you start Mitch Trubisky? But they did come out and say that it is a job he has to win over the summer and right before the season starts. So I want to ask you, and when Eric comes on, I want to ask him, and of course everybody who's listening at home, you guys can comment. Join the show. We'll drop the link in a bit if you guys want to hop on. If not, comment on the show. We're here to talk. All things sports. It doesn't have to be NFL. We can talk about anything, really.
Anything. You talk about baseball, March Madness, even hockey. You want to go there?
Right, even hockey if you want to go there. But yeah, so John, Mitchell Trubisky, Pittsburgh Steelers. I guess my first question is, how do you feel about him playing under a better coach and in a better organization?
You know what? I'm glad you said better coach and better organization, because that's the exact reason why I'm very excited for Mitch. I'm very optimistic that he will have success. I mean, we got to call it for what it is. No bias aside. Everybody knows I'm a Mitch fan. I love Mitch. It's very unfortunate for him because he's constantly been compared to Mahomes and Watson, and they've obviously had tremendous success, though I've always been one to argue that, I mean, realistically, the the Chiefs they've been the top team since Mahomes got there, since Mahomes started, because he did play on the bench. But as far as for Mitch, man, I'm really, really excited because he finally has. Not only does he have a coach that knows what he's doing, but he has one of the few Hall of Fame coaches that are still coaching to this day. And the Steelers, I mean, I think it speaks volumes that the Steelers went and got Mitch, because the Steelers have been an organization where they invest in a quarterback for years.
Yep.
You know? And that's why it's like, if Mitch fails, it's only a 2-year deal. You don't pay him a lot. But if he succeeds, I mean, because all Mitch has to do on the Steelers is be efficient. Just like how we needed him on the Bears to be efficient. But the problem is Matt Nagy never catered to what he does best. And I feel like that's going to be totally different with Mike Tomlin, that O-line. He has weapons, unlike over here. You know, in Chicago, it's been a disaster for any quarterback. Even Fields last year. I mean, come on, man. We've had Andy Dalton, Fields, Foles, been nothing but disasters. But definitely, I'm excited for Mitch. I'm optimistic for Mitch. I mean, we've seen him have some success, take the Bears to the playoffs, regardless of whether or not his defense carried him, like many say. But it's like, okay, so you come to Steelers, and the Steelers have had a defense that's carried them. Yeah. You know, but Big Ben hasn't been, you know, Big Ben. They don't make him like Big Ben no more. Nope. You know, they definitely don't make him like that. The league is definitely changed. But I'm excited because Mitch finally has a quarterback that can cater to him, and he also has an elite defense, because regardless of what some people may think, the Steelers' defense has been elite the last 5 years.
And as you mentioned to Coach Tomlin, he has a Hall of Fame coach, someone who's proven. Coach Tomlin has yet to have a losing season his entire time at Pittsburgh. Yeah. So that just speaks volumes to what kind of coach that man is.
Even with the quarterbacks we just named, with Mason Rudolph, he still was able to coach a team to where they were, you know, within one playoff game away, you know, just a 500 record or nothing below it.
Nothing below it, and let's be honest, Big Ben was a shut up himself the last 2 seasons.
Unfortunately, yeah, like I said, I love Big Ben, but it's really been a decline ever since AB and Bell left the Steelers. Yeah, and I mean, his age has been showing tremendously. He couldn't run. He could occasionally throw the deep pass, but it wasn't even as accurate as it used to be. You know, you saw many times Big Ben was forcing the ball in there. Yep. Whereas Mason Rudolph, on the other hand, he was just turning over the ball. He wasn't forcing it nowhere because he has no type of accuracy.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to the Jca Sports Podcast, guys, as we bring in our other brother here, Eric Avila. The gang's all here.
EA.
That's right, EA Sports.
Fresh off of the EAFP podcast?
Yes, yeah.
Fresh, super fresh.
So after also fresh off of Arsenal loss to my beloved Liverpool, baby.
Oh, he went there. He went
there. You know what? If I could touch that real quick, honestly, I kind of, even though Arsenal did lose, I kind of give them a round of applause. The one thing about that though, there was a difference between the 4-0 drumming that they got at Anfield to this 2-0 loss. You might think that's kind of crazy, right? Like you would think, like, why a loss is a loss, but the fact that they've been more stable since, you know what I mean? Like they've come up, they play well. I think Arteta had a foundation, but it's a step up in class, guys. And I think Liverpool and Man City, it's a class above everybody else who's in the Premier League right now. It shows that it's a 90-minute game. Arsenal did well for the first 45 minutes. They were dominating the game up until Liverpool's first goal, and then it just kind of went to shambles after that. But I know where this team stands. This team stands as a potential top 4 team, and if we do get into the Champions League spot, guys, I think that'll be perfect. We'll get the signings that we need to at least be more competitive for next season than this season for sure.
Look at that. We talk all sports here. We talk football and football, here on the Jca Sports.
The real football, yeah, okay. Honestly.
But speaking of real football, we're talking about Mitchell Trubisky in Pittsburgh, Eric.
No, that's not real football.
So I was asking John, right? Mitchell Trubisky, as we were saying, he's finally in a better organization, under a better coaching staff, ones who maybe could utilize his skill set. And they're coming off a season where they made the playoffs with Big Ben, who was a shell of himself. He wasn't the Big Ben we all know and love. And obviously, the point, I guess, the big question here is, can Mitchell Trubisky find success in Pittsburgh? Jesus Palayo in the comments says Trubisky needed a better offensive line to help him. He's going to have that in Pittsburgh, at least a lot better one than he did here in Chicago. But I want to ask you, Eric.
Wait, real quick.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad.
Right. That's it, yeah. But Eric, I want to ask you the same thing. Can he find success in Pittsburgh?
No. Thank you for watching the Jca Sports podcast, guys. We appreciate you guys joining on and everything. We'll see you guys on Monday.
The JCA negative Nancy, everybody.
Negative Nancy.
No. To be honest, no. I think we already know what Mitch is. It's an athletic. He's an athletic. Chase Daniels, in my book.
That's fine.
The problem with Mitch, you could blame the offensive line. You can blame the weapons all you want. You can blame Matt Nagy all you want, but can he read defense? No. Can he stay in the pocket and deliver a good throw? No. Can he throw left? No. Can he throw 2 yards? No. Anything outside of the pocket and going to his right is where Mitchell Trubisky is more effective, whether if you make him mobile or not. Look, the worst quarterback depth is Pittsburgh with Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky, and Dwayne Haskins. I think they're all going to compete themselves on who is the worst quarterback to start. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow, some way, Pittsburgh drafts a quarterback this year where there's like not really big name quarterbacks, and somehow, some way, the quarterback that they drafted outshines everybody else. I was listening to you guys while I was getting ready, and you guys said something about he finally has weapons. Well, he only has Claypool. Name me somebody else that the Pittsburgh Steelers have that's on the roster. Don't say Juju Smith. Don't say Juju Smith because he's a free agent.
No,
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris
is probably Najee Harris is the only running back.
He's arguably the best running back in the league right now.
And he was off a rookie, right? A rookie year. Obviously he has. We had David Montgomery. It's not the same thing, but he still had a running game here too as well.
The same. Montgomery in the Bears offense does not equivalent to
Claypool. To Najee Harris. You're right. You're absolutely right.
At all.
Upgrade on offensive line. Great, but can Mitch still be a quarterback? And Mitchell Trubisky is not a quarterback. He's an athlete.
But he can be a quarterback because he finally has a coach that knows how to be a coach.
That's fine. That's fine and all. We understand that.
Fields can even have success with Nagy.
That's a valid point. And I get that. That's a valid point. He couldn't get the best out of Justin Fields.
The man kept firing himself every other week.
Exactly. But I think we still have enough tape, even from when he was the quarterback from John Fox and here on out, that Trubisky can't do what I point out that he cannot do. If Mitchell Trubisky doesn't come out of the pocket, even going left or going right, he still has problems accurately throwing the ball. Obviously, it's been his Achilles heel. We all thought, at least I did. I thought too, that Mitchell Trubisky's best fit would have been with the New York Giants. Giants. It would have been with the New York Giants with Brian Dable.
It would be Daniel Jones all over again. Daniel Jones is the mess. The Giants organization they haven't been able to get a quarterback since Eli Manning. Even Eli Manning was a mediocre quarterback.
That's fine. I get that. But what Mitchell Trubisky is now, and what Ryan Pace did with the second pick, is that he drafted a bridge quarterback in the NFL. I know you said the comparison to Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. The only reason why we compared him to them is the fact that they all came out of the same draft. Right. The only difference was Deshaun Watson was the only one that actually started from day one. Mitch had to wait till week 3, week 4, and even then, so it still wasn't great. We kind of gave. What we should have done is seen Mitchell Trubisky what he truly was. Instead, we gave him a pass because we knew John Fox was going to be out the year after.
Well, we knew John Fox wasn't even a quarterback coach.
Regardless
of consider what Watson had, Deshaun Watson or DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
He was throwing in double coverage, triple coverage every time.
That's all fine and dandy. But also remember that Deshaun Watkins' rookie year, he also tore his ACL again. So he missed the majority of that season that year too. Patrick Mahomes, we don't talk about because he sat out the first year.
Right.
But the only reason why we still compare him to those two is because the year after that, Deshaun Watson was healthy. He took the Texans to the playoffs and was successful there. Patrick Mahomes, after a year sitting with the Kansas City Chiefs, he became the MVP and also won the Super Bowl. So and Trubisky was drafted first before then. So that was the one thing about Mitchell Trubisky. We've seen his flaws even with Matt Nagy, even that guys that you want to claimed he won Pro Bowl, which he basically got it because of his team. We've seen that Mitchell Trubisky had flaws, and the flaws continued and never gotten better. Whether you could blame that down to coaching or you could blame that down to the athlete himself and Mitchell Trubisky. The thing about that though is that we kind of we didn't see his flaws until late, until when they actually came out into fruition, and we seen that he was just an athlete. He really wasn't a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You could say you could give him Mike Tomlin, better staff, better running game, better that, but if whatever he didn't learn in Buffalo after sitting a year, if it doesn't translate from what he learned into Pittsburgh Steelers, basically Trubisky is a bridge quarterback, and you could kind of give it a lost season for the Steelers, which I kind of see that for myself.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Bills, Eric, because that's another thing you have to take into consideration is this man has had a year off, and he's, Josh Allen is arguably top 5 quarterback in the league. So he had a year. He had a year to, unlearn the bad habits from Nagy and learn new habits and literally establish himself, find himself as a quarterback. What type of quarterback do you want to be? I mean, again, the Steelers don't just sign any quarterback. I think it speaks volume that they actually went and signed Mitch. Like, they invest in their quarterbacks. Mike Tomlin isn't going to go sign a bum. He's not going to do that, especially to replace Big Ben. If that's the case, they should have just stayed with Rudolph. They should just stay with Rudolph until they can actually draft the quarterback next year. But they're not trying to be in rebuild mode because they know they have a defense. They have arguably the best running back in the league. They have a top 10 wide receiver. They still have a great O-line. Like I said, and Mitch has stepped back a year from the Nagy disaster. Yes, I'm not going to argue with you that the Bears drafted him at the correct spot because I think it was still high. Obviously, Watson was a for sure draft. Watson was a for sure obvious pick that should have gone first quarterback.
For sure.
Mahomes was a gamble, but it paid off. But again, I don't think if you put Watson or Mahomes under Nagy, it would have been a disaster. Honestly, Nagy would have probably been fired a long time ago if he had either of those two quarterbacks because Mitch is too nice. He's just going to do what he says. Whereas I could see Watson and Mahomes actually arguing with him, going to the owners. That's why I really think if you had Watson and Mahomes drafted by the Bears, Nagy and Pace would have been gone. Because then you would see really you're wasting these talented quarterbacks. Because I'm not here arguing that Mitch is better than either of those two. It's just Mitch has always been compared to those two, which sucks for him. But for good reason he's been compared to them. I just feel like now he's given a second chance. He's taken a year off, and he's with the Hall of Fame quarterback in one of the best organizations in football.
And that's the thing, right? That's the thing we got to realize is that he's with Mike Tomlin, who is one of the best coaches. He's definitely a Hall of Fame coach. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL. And Eric, John's right. They wouldn't have went out and got Mitchell Trubisky if they didn't have a plan for him. You know what I mean? He showed something. He showed a little something in Chicago. Couldn't do much in Buffalo because you're behind a great quarterback in Josh Allen. But Buffalo got him to the point where just in case if Josh Allen went down, they needed someone. Maybe, obviously.
Someone who's efficient.
Right.
Mitch, that's all you need.
Right. Mitch isn't at his level, of course, but.
Mitch isn't elite like Josh Allen.
But they needed someone to move the ball regardless.
Exactly.
Hold on. The jury was out. On Matt Nagy. All right. It was Mitchell Trubisky or Matt Nagy. It was one of the two. The jury's out. It's Matt Nagy because here you got Justin Fields couldn't do anything.
He failed with Fields, absolutely. Like, literally, last year was Matt Nagy's chance to save his job with a brand new quarterback, and he couldn't do it.
Right, so he couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it with 3 quarterbacks.
So, yes, Mr. Trubisky isn't perfect, but he did run that offense his first year under Nagy's offense. He did run it a lot better than Justin Fields did. And you could, and I don't know who had a worse offensive line. I don't know if it was between the two which one had a worse offensive line, but he did. You know that you had both quarterbacks in the same position, and you know what I mean. It was, and here we are. So,
Well, I mean, what the one thing I say about this is like, what else is out there, right? And obviously what was out there was Deshaun Watson, but you had to trade for him, right? So Mitch was kind of like the cheap option out there where you really don't have to waste your capital and your draft capital and just give him money. I mean, obviously he got what, 12 million per year, something like that, whatever the contract was for him. I don't know how much it was. All I know that he got some team signed him up for this amount of money. Apparently the team was the Pittsburgh Steelers. But even on top of that, it's like, what else was out there in the quarterback market? And the only reason why Mitchell Trubisky was such a hot commodity this offseason is simply because he was the only quarterback that is young, had NFL experience, and is like, okay, let's see what we can get out of him, right? And I think it's basically the same thing as the draft. Now, look,
but if that's the case, you could have took that gamble with Carson Wentz.
You could have taken that gamble with Carson Wentz, but again, you had to give up draft capital.
Just a third and a sixth rounder. Who wouldn't have done it?
I mean, would you rather have the draft capital or would you rather waste the money?
Would you rather waste a third or sixth rounder versus 14 mil?
Again, would you rather keep your draft picks or you rather waste the money that you know you have to spend?
I would rather spend 14 mil.
Okay,
right.
So Mitchell Trubisky was the cheaper option, if
Right.
you want to call that cheap.
But because a third and a sixth isn't worth it for Wentz. If anything, Wentz should be making 14 mil at this point in his career. I wouldn't trade a third and a sixth for Wentz.
Right.
But some argue that Wentz is better than Mitch.
But Wentz is better than Mitch. Like Wentz can actually play the quarterback position.
Wentz hasn't been the same since the Eagles, but ever since he lost his job, ever since he got hurt and then they lost the Super Bowl, he's been a shell of himself ever since. Yeah, I mean, if Wentz was that good, then an organization like the Steelers would have wasted the draft capital. I mean, it's just a third and a sixth. It's not a first. It's not 2 firsts and 2 seconds, 2 thirds. None of that. It's literally just a third and a sixth for Carson Wentz.
Exactly. But again, that's still giving up a potential future for more draft picks for your team. Like that's the one thing. And I feel like that's what I mean. If you really wanted to waste draft picks, I think the more reliable reason was Deshaun Watson, who's still up there for market. But obviously, I'm not the GM.
Not worth it. You know what I mean? For the price of Watson, just for him to still might not be able to play for you, it's not worth it.
Right, exactly, because of the legal actions and stuff like that. So they're trying to alleviate the way out of it. But the thing is about with Mitchell Trubisky is just like it's either you're gonna fail and he's your bridge quarterback to maybe you might find something in this draft. So like, look, we don't like Haskins, right? We know what we have in Mason Rudolph, so let him compete for this job because he has been into the system, whether he is good or not, right? Let's compete with another guy that is at his level in trash and Mitchell Trubisky, and let's draft us a quarterback.
He's not trash. Mason Rudolph is healthy year. He hasn't even thrown for over 3,000 yards. Mitch is
that's fine, but Mitchell Trubisky is already whatever. He was more of a starter than Mason Rudolph. Rudolph was behind Big Ben, which was a Hall of Famer. So you got to put that into consideration.
Jose said he was a shell of himself. These last couple of years that Mason Rudolph has backed up Big Ben, it wasn't Hall of Fame Big Ben. It's end of the career Big Ben. It's 3,000 yards a year Big Ben.
It's still Big Ben, isn't it?
If that,
it's just a name.
So here's Big Ben.
It's just a name. Obviously not, because they couldn't even beat the Chiefs. They got spanked by the Chiefs. It wasn't even a competition.
I mean, come on. The Chiefs
okay,
are
but
the Chiefs, man.
But them losing to the Chiefs is one thing.
But then the year prior to that, they missed the playoffs because they literally needed to win.
Right.
Against the Ravens. It came down to the last game of the year. And then the year before that, he was hurt. Mason Rudolph had the full season to go. Couldn't even throw for 3,000 yards. So you could say Mitch is a more trash quarterback, but he's obviously the better quarterback. He's the better option and the better starter for the Steelers. And again, he has an elite defense behind him. And like you like to say that the Bears defense
I don't know about elite.
You like to say the Bears defense carried Mitch, right? So then why not let Mitch do it again? Because the last time he did it, he went to 2 playoffs.
Yeah, but the difference is that Steelers defense is not that Bears defense. It's not elite. It's a good defense.
The
It's a
Steelers
very
defense-
good defense.
The only time the Bears defense has been better than the Steelers is 2018.
Okay,
Other than
but
that, the Steelers defense has been better than the Bears.
okay, but
They
again,
literally are the steel curtain. They
again,
literally
that
are
year,
elite.
but that year was an elite defense, John. That
They're
year,
top five.
This year,
that year they were top 5, top 3 in almost every category defensively, bro. You talking
We're talking
about
about
the Steelers?
2018 Bears. I'm saying take away 2018 Bears and then compare the rest of the years.
Okay, that's still a very. It's not an elite defense, like you said. It's just a very good defense.
But we
That's
were
it.
calling the Bears elite still.
Because the
weren't.
Bears defense, what they did in 2018 was almost damn near historical. That's
Okay,
that
it
was
was
an elite
historical, but
defense.
take away 2018, we were dubbing them elite still, and they weren't. And if you're and the Steelers were better than the Bears after 2018,
Right, so they're
they
right.
carried the team to the playoffs. So
They're
so if we still call the Bears elite, how are you not going to call the Steelers, who's a proven better defense, not elite?
Because the fact of the matter is, the only reason why we still call them elite was because we were still backing up that 2018 team, that 2018 historic team who led the league in turnovers, led the league in defense score points. You know,
Right, but
that wasn't the
didn't prove
Steelers.
that they were
Again,
elite, though.
we still had those key players that contribute to that elite defensive standard. They did
And
take a step back.
we literally
You're
just traded
absolutely
everybody in the last few
Okay.
years because why? They weren't really elite after 2018.
that's
We were just
absolutely
living off
fine.
of 2018
But
success.
I'm just saying,
Whereas the Steelers have been carried every single year by their elite defense.
but they're not elite. They're a very good defense.
They're not historic like you're arguing the
But they're a
2018
very
Bears
good
were,
defense.
but
It's
they're
not an
elite.
elite
They're a top defense in the league.
Again, they are a top defense, but they're not an elite defense. You want to put them as an elite defense. They're a very good. I would agree with you if you said very good. You're capping them as elite. They're not elite. They didn't hold to their standards of top 3, top 5 in every defensive category. Yes, they got TJ Watt. Yes, they have as one of the best defensive players in the league. But then that's making them a very good defense because they actually have a pass rush. They do pass rush a lot. They're a very good. Are they top 10 in almost every statistical category? Yes. But just because they're in the top 10, they're not top elite. It's top 5. Top 10 is very good. They're a very good defense. But for you to call them elite, I think that's a step too. That's giving them too much praise.
regardless of the fact whether they're elite or not elite, Mitchell Trubisky is who we're talking about, and can he get the job done?
No.
Look, in 2018 he did it, but I think we all agree that that defense did carry that team, right?
Yeah, we can agree.
That defense did carry that team. Once that defense declined, which was the year after, we started to see exactly what Mitch was. At the same time, we also had our suspicions on Matt Nagy. Those suspicions came to be true, and we all knew he wasn't the quarterback whisperer that everybody claimed for him to be. He wasn't the offensive guru everybody claimed him to be before he came over here. And he's gone now, right? So he's gone. Now you put him in a system under Mike Tomlin, right? Who was able to do more with less last season with Big Ben. And that season, Big Ben was at literally the tail of his career. He retired right after. He couldn't do anything. I think Mitchell Trubisky gives you a hell of a lot more than Big Ben gave you last year.
Athletic-wise, yeah.
I mean, yeah, athletic-wise. And if they look, we haven't played since, 2019? Yeah, right?
2020?
2020?
2020?
Since 2020. We haven't seen this man play in 2 years.
That's what I'm saying. He took a year off.
Right.
He sat behind one of the top 5, top 10 quarterbacks.
Yep.
They have a damn good head coach over there in Buffalo, and now he's going to a Hall of Fame coach with a great defense, great O-line, and arguably the best running back in the league. Mitch just has to do enough. He just has to be efficient. We don't need him to put, superstar numbers. We just need him to do enough. That's what I'm saying. Mike Tomlin can cater to what works for Mitch.
So
his enough is not even good enough. So I mean, what is?
But
enough?
it wasn't enough on the Bears to go to the playoffs
1 year.
when Vic Fangio left.
1 year. 1 year.
With the head coach that didn't know what he was doing.
1 year, because the last year they went to the playoffs, they stumbled in the playoffs. They didn't even they made the playoffs because they lost the game that could have gotten into the playoffs, and then the other team that needed to lose for them to get into the playoffs lost as well. I don't claim that as a playoff berth because they did nothing to even get rewarded for that, but they did, and they were in. And what happened? They were out just as quickly as they got in. They got out. So it's like, you know what I mean?
I hear you.
Plus the teams that they beat.
The
plus
wins
the teams
that dropped it changed the whole game that playoff.
Come on, man.
I honestly do believe even if he did catch that pass, I still believe the Saints probably would have won. It's the closest the game.
Of course, it was Drew Brees in that team. Of course, they were going to win.
Like,
Come on, Eric.
It was what it is. As much as we like to blame that drop for it to be, I just blame that drop for it to be a more competitive game.
It changed the whole rhythm of the game, man. It changed the whole. Literally, he catches that ball. We would have took the air out the Saints, bro.
Not really, because I think with Sean Payton as a head coach, he'll adjust at halftime. That's something that the Bears and Matt Nagy can't do or couldn't do at that time, was adjust after halftime.
Matt Nagy could never adjust.
Matt
So now Mike Tomlin can adjust.
So Matt Nagy's gone. No longer with the team, right?
Right.
Justin Fields is now under a new regime, and Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. Mr. Trubisky is now in a new regime with the Pittsburgh Steelers and his head coach Mike Tomlin.
Hall of Fame head coach.
So I want to ask you guys, right? With everything going on in both cities and both teams, between Justin Fields and Mitchell Trubisky, who has a better season this season? We'll start with you, Eric.
I think Justin Fields, because I don't think Mitch will start.
Who's he going to lose the quarterback competition to? Rudolph? Come on, bro.
I still don't think he'll start.
That's cap.
I don't think so. I don't think he'll even last the whole season, to be honest, if he does start, to be honest. I think it'll be Justin.
Okay. Well, for Devil's Advocate, no, hold on, Eric. Devil's Advocate. Let's say Trubisky is starting, okay?
Okay.
So who has the better season and why?
Justin Fields.
Okay, why?
I think Justin Fields is we've seen his rookie mistakes, right? We were going in year 2, obviously different offensive systems, stuff like that. I think the moves that the Bears are making, that Ryan Poles are making, it's true to his standard what he's saying. This is wave number 2. Obviously we probably might get a wide receiver at this point, so he'll probably have better weapons. Obviously the offensive line looks a little bit beefier. If they could play together, that's a whole different story. Obviously, we're just playing the hypotheticals here, right? But Justin Fields is a better quarterback. I think he'll be he'll be put in positions to succeed with this regime, and I think he'll strike some wonders. I think he'll have some good numbers this year, and probably look. I could care less if the Bears win 5 games, 6 games. I don't think win or losses is into this. It matters into this. I think we're just comparing to stats, comparing to quarterbacks. If we compare win and losses, then I mean, whatever. That's a whole different conversation. But if we're strictly talking about stats, I think Fields will have better stats than Mitch Trubisky for sure.
I think we can all confidently say that the Steelers will have more wins than the Bears.
Agreed.
So
I don't know, man. Look, I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident in what Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus are doing.
What have they been doing?
Look, again,
freeing up cap for 2023.
And I think they'll probably have some players to compete. Will they have a winning record? No, I honestly believe not. I don't think they'll have a winning record. But I think they'll put a competitive team out there, both offensively and defensively, to compete in each and every game, to where where the talent level that they have might squeak out a game or 2 in the W column in the season. That's why I'm starting to have a little bit more confidence in these 2 than I did in the previous regime. So I don't know, because the AFC North division, depending if the rumors are true, you have Lamar Jackson there. If the rumors are true and Deshaun Watson goes there, that's already there. And then who's the other team that I'm spacing out at? The Browns, the Steelers, the Browns, Ravens, and what's the other team that's in that division that for the life of me I can't think? Bengals. And the Bengals with Joe Burrow. So I mean, if rumors are true, they're already in the bottom tier of the quarterback rankings, man. I'm not sure. And even if Baker's still there, I'll still put Baker Mayfield over Trubisky, to be honest with you.
That's funny you say that, because in the first 4 seasons of Baker and Mitch has better record. He has better stats, better passing rating, better wins.
But remember that Baker Mayfield didn't have a good team up until last year, 2 years ago. So it's just
I'm pretty sure Baker did so good his first year that he got his intermediate coach signed for head coach the very next year.
Right.
Because
So
of how he performed so well.
I mean, I'll still put Baker ahead of any quarterback that comes out of Pittsburgh. But if the rumors are true and they're saying that Cleveland's looking for Deshaun Watson, I mean,
You gotta make sure your boy can play first of all.
right, for sure. But I mean, whether if this is, I mean, it's the NFL, bro. He's only gonna get suspended for 2 games, man. He'll be back by week 3.
No, they're gonna make.
Hey, I mean, hey, don't worry about that.
Tom Brady, they're gonna make an example out of him.
I know they're gonna make an example out of him.
Unless he's betting on his day off, bro, he won't get much. Okay,
exactly, man. Don't worry about it. Look, it's the NFL. He did something to women's 2 games. Unfortunately, that's how the NFL rolls. That's how it is. He's only gonna get suspended for 2 games. But John's right though. They're gonna make an example out of him. I wouldn't be surprised if they give him probably like half a season. You know, like
for
8 games.
Full season.
I mean, look, I get it. It's horrible.
But
what
it
he
should have
did.
been last season because he didn't play at all.
Exactly. It's horrible what he did. I mean, I think if I remember correctly,
because we don't know.
If I remember correctly, he still got paid. He still got paid by the Texans.
Full contract.
Yeah. So, I mean, the worst that I could possibly see is like 8 games non-paid since he got paid last year. I think it'll be 8 games non-paid suspension. And if to me somehow, some way, the Cleveland Browns can be, I don't know, 4-8. I mean, 4-8, 4-4, maybe, you know, I don't know, 3-7 or something like that, and you bring back Deshaun Watson with that team that's built around them. It's possible they can make some noise to scare some teams and upset some teams to take them out of the playoffs. But I mean, again, we're just speaking hypotheticals here, right?
So going back to the question, who has a better season between Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields? John, I'm going to get your reaction. Who do you think has the better season this season?
See, so I base season off what does your team do? What do you know? How far does your team get? You know, if we're talking about individual stats, then I'm gonna break it down like this: Justin Fields will have more passing yards, but Mitch will have a better TD to interception ratio and a better passer rating than Justin Fields.
So who has a better season?
The better season overall is going to be Mitch because I think his team is going to succeed better than the Bears. The way I see it, yes, I'm happy that the Bears are making moves, but to be realistically, I agree with Eric as far as we may only win 5 games. It's clearly a rebuild. I don't think we see Fields shining on the Bears until at least year 3 or 4 because realistically, this is his first full year as quarterback all year long. There's no Andy Dalton breathing down your neck or hey we're gonna let Foles get the start. And there's no Matt Nagy, so he's got a new coach. They got to learn him. He has to learn there. They got to learn the playbook. It's a rebuild, just straight rebuild. We don't even know who he's going to be throwing the ball to. There's rumors they're going to trade Montgomery. So I literally think it's just we're not going to see Fields shine until at least year 3 or 4.
I think you'll probably see Fields shine halfway this season.
We're going to see glimpses of what he can do, but literally to be worth the first round pick, we're not going to see that showing until year 3.
Will a city like Chicago wait that long?
We have to.
I get we have to, right? But let's be honest. How many years did it take for us to realize, okay, Mitch Trubisky ain't it? You know,
second
what I mean?
season.
Right,
second season after 28.
But we're not going to
second Nagy season after 2018.
We're not going to dump Fields because we just got these new coaches.
But here's the maybe the organization won't dump Fields, but as a fan base, we know who drafted this man. It wasn't Poles. This realistically wasn't Poles' guy. This is Ryan Pace's guy, the same guy who drafted Mitchell Trubisky, who brought in Andy Dalton, who brought in Mike Glennon, who brought in Nick Foles. The list goes on and on, right? This is Ryan. This is a product of Ryan Pace's drafts.
But see, I don't believe that the fan base thinks this is Pace and Nagy's guy. I think anybody that was GM would have traded up and got Fields the way the.
But this was Pace and Nagy's guy. This was literally.
I know it was their pick, but I'm saying I think anybody else would have still made that pick. They would have pulled the trigger to trade up and get Fields.
So here's the thing.
Sitting where the Bears were standing to draft.
All I'm saying is if Justin Fields comes out and doesn't have a great season, if it's almost similar to what we saw last season, because you got to realize this is a whole new system he's going to be learning. it's basically like he's a rookie all over again.
Yeah,
He has a little. Obviously, he's used to the game speed a little bit more than he was coming into the season because he played games. But other than that, you still got to see it as if he's a rookie again. You know what I mean? Because he's learning. And if you're looking around, he might not have David Montgomery. He might not. I mean, he's not going to have Allen Robinson. This defense got a lot worse. I mean, and we got rid of a lot of people. We released a lot of people. We let a lot of people leave on free agency.
He's going to be playing behind a lot.
We don't know who his wide receivers are going to be other than Mooney. You know what I mean? Jimmy Graham's gone as a tight end. You know what I mean? I mean, thankfully, but he was still your red zone target, regardless of what you feel of him or not. He was one of your best red zone targets at that.
Yeah, but look, Komet ended the season on a high note. I thought that Komet started playing well the last couple games of the season.
So I guess what I'm basically trying to say is it's not far-fetched to realistically say that Mitch Trubisky will have a better season than Jones because of who's around him. Look at Mitch Trubisky. He has an overall way better team around him. His offensive line is way better. He has a running back he can dink and dump or just let him take over.
It's going to be a run-first offense.
But that's it. But that's
Mitch is in it too. Mitch can roll
That's what I'm
out. Mitch
saying.
can run too. He
That's
got
what I'm
wheels.
saying.
Mitch is athletic.
Right, and he could be efficient enough. He could be efficient enough to.
Hey, he's a good guy.
Look, he could be efficient enough to manage the game to at least where you let your star players around you do what they're supposed to be doing, right?
I mean, you talk about Dink.
You're not going to have that luxury.
You're talking about Dink and Dunk, and Mitch could barely pass for 2 yards, bro. I mean, and a Dink and Dunk is like 4 or 5 yards.
I think we know that was like.
I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin isn't going to call.
I'm pretty sure Matt Nagy wasn't the one throwing those balls, man. Let's be honest, man. He could barely get it to. He could barely move it into a moving target. He barely throw accurate to a moving target. What makes you think he'll do?
Again, Eric, he's had a year to.
Not even that though. Not even that.
It doesn't matter if he had a year off.
But it's not even that, right? But like, I get what you're saying. Matt Nagy wasn't the one throwing those touchdowns, but Matt Nagy was the one who was in charge of getting people to develop him throwing those passes. You know what I mean? And we all know he was incompetent at everything he did. So he probably brought in more incompetent coaches that was around Mitchell Trubisky. You're not going to have that at all in Pittsburgh, at all. And I'm damn sure he didn't have that at all in Buffalo. So again, I hope I'm wrong.
Mitch is poised for more success
this season. Not. I don't want to say career, but this season. Yes.
This season, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Rudolph gets the starting spot. Like that would not surprise me. Would it surprise you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mitch is a quarterback, and he was brought in to be the starter.
I think he's overall. I think he's well above and beyond.
I think Mitch could win comeback player of the year next year.
No, I'm not there. I'm not there. Let me make this very clear. Let me make this very clear.
That's a lot. That's a lot of this, man. Stop.
That's where I'm at.
Let me make this very, very, very clear. Okay. No way in hell do I think Mitchell Trubisky is a top 10 quarterback or a top 5 quarterback or a top 15 quarterback.
Or a top 20.
Look, he's the best quarterback on that
top
roster.
25.
Right. I think I'm like in the middle between you both.
Or a top 30.
I don't have no confidence in Mitchell Trubisky at all.
Or a top 35.
I have more confidence in the team that he's in. If you know what I mean? And I feel like because he's with the Steelers, because he's with Mike Tomlin, he'll produce a way better showing than he did when he was here in Chicago. So that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? And I do think he's going to have a better season than Justin Fields. But again, that has more to do with that organization and the players and coaches around Trubisky than it does the talent between the two, if that makes sense.
Okay. I mean, I guess. I mean, I think. I mean, I know John is on this Mitch train, but I think the only reason why I think we're probably we're hyping up this situation about Mitch Trubisky being this quarterback is where he just actually landed. So I think this is the reason why we're giving him this much expectations for this year, Hall of Fame quarterback or not. I personally know what Mitchell Trubisky is. I know the type of quarterback that he is. He's not a quarterback. He's just an athlete. I guess that's the real question, right? Can Mike Tomlin?
Tebow 2.0?
Huh?
Tim Tebow 2.0.
I'll have more. I have more faith in Tim Tebow than I do in Mitchell Trubisky. Let's put it like that. At least Tim Tebow can win me a playoff game. How about that one? Tim Tebow can give me a pass down the middle and win me a playoff game, and thank the good Lord Savior himself. I have more faith in Tim Tebow than I do in Mitchell Trubisky. That's disrespectful to Tim Tebow, putting Mitchell Trubisky in the conversation.
This is Daddy Trubisky, man. This is Daddy Trubisky. He's about to be a dad, bro. Maybe he has a little bit more.
Congratulations. Any life achievements that Mr. Trubisky has, I'll applaud him. I'll congratulate him. That's great. Good for him. He deserved well, man, for all that stuff. But when we talk quarterbacks, man, he doesn't get no credit. I know the type of quarterback he is. I'll see with my own two eyes. I won't be surprised if he's a starting quarterback and he balls out the first 2 games, and then after that, we'll see. It'll fall from grace. We'll see what we'll see who Mitch Trubisky really was and is. And it's not a quarterback. It's just an athlete.
Like I said, comeback player of the year. Definitely a better season than Fields next year.
Oof, I don't know about comeback player of the year and better. I don't know about all that. I think. What do you guys say? That's cap. That's all cap right there.
It's all cap.
Johnny blasted me for a reason, but if it comes out, happens, you fuckers owe me respect and misrespect.
More like Yoni Pendejo, but we don't talk about that.
Says the Arsenal fan.
Says the Arsenal fan. Hey man, look, I'm proud of my boys today. All right, although it was a 2-0 defeat, I'm proud of my boys. They
the only team he takes pride when they lose. Every other team, he dogs them.
I look. Compared to prior seasons that we've had before, this team just we know the class, man. I know where it is. It's Man City and Liverpool, and then everybody else has a fight for themselves. And to where they were a year ago to where they are today, I give them credit.
I don't know any other Arsenal fan in the Chicago South Chicago East Side, Cal City area. Fighting Indiana.
Yeah, he's only Arsenal.
I don't know anybody else that.
Yeah, because you guys don't know soccer
Arsenal or talks about Arsenal.
Yeah, because you guys don't know soccer people. I'm the only soccer person you guys know.
First of all, dude, you don't even have Arsenal fans commenting on your podcast because they don't exist. It's just you. You're the only Arsenal fan.
Yeah, but I don't talk about Arsenal on my podcast. I only did it today because they played today.
And lost. My boys.
Your boys. Why no más acá huevos?
The good guys in red.
Real Madrid winning the Champions League.
Ooh, I don't think so.
Guys, we got about 9 minutes left. I want to talk a little bit about the Bears. Let's stick to the NFL. Let's stick to the Bears since we're talking Trubisky and Justin Fields. They made quite a few moves, and a lot of it is releasing basically like 90% of the team. Like when you look and see exactly who's on this team and who isn't on this team anymore, you're like, holy crap, this is a full scale rebuild.
Yeah, they blew it up.
They legit, like Brian Poles was like
he said, you gotta go, right. You gotta go, you definitely gotta go.
He was handing pink slips left and right. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, just to name a few, right? They did not tender offers to restricted free agents Alex Bars, Xavier Crawford, Tease Tabor, Ryan Naw, JP Haltz. They're all now unrestricted free agents. Obviously, we know about the Khalil Mack trade. Danny Trevathan released. Tariq Cohen released.
Eddie Goldman.
On and on. Bilal Nichols is now is a Raider. Artie Burns is now a Seahawk. Anthony Walker is now a Brown. Like, dude, like, and the free agents that we know that this year that aren't coming back: Allen Robinson, Marquise Goodwin, Demir Bird, Andy Dalton, Damian Williams, Jimmy Graham, Jesse James, Urfetti, Peters, Wilkinson, Deion Bush, Gibson, Christian, like Ogletree, Jones, Hicks, Hunt, Donald, Crawford, Tate, bro, like it's crazy. These are all like just free agents where they're not going to resign. The Bears are going to resign any of them. Like, what are we doing here?
He's cleaning the house. Like I said, full
on house, man. He said it himself.
Full rebuild. I guess I'm saying that's why I say you're not going to see Fields shine until at least year 3,
halfway of the season.
A completely new team. We don't even know who's going to be. It's literally going to be. I mean, I do have hopes he's gonna do good in the draft. I do have polls. Sorry, we're talking about the Bears,
right?
But it's still going to be a new team. It's like a bunch of I don't want to say the bad news Bears, but the rookies. I mean, we're going to see. It's really going to be the best out of the nobodies that are going to start.
I'm trying
I
to
don't know about nobodies. I mean, look, Unjabi, obviously he's a force to be reckoned with in the middle. That he fills in that Akeem Hicks void, right? Obviously, we're gonna give Tashawn Gibson, no, not Tashawn Gibson, what's it? Yeah, Tashawn Gibson a shot at defensive end, right? I know they got the linebacker from the Raiders, Morrow. Obviously, that's one player that they got to in the linebacker position.
They got a guard, Lucas Patrick.
Right. The offensive lineman, guard, center from the Packers, right? And like you guys said, they're gonna shop Montgomery, or they're looking to shop Montgomery.
But that's the rumors.
I won't be surprised if they do so. Like some team that needs a running back will pick him up and give some draft capital this year. It may not be third, fourth, fifth. It might not be second, third round picks, but at least picks in the later half, in the fourth or fifth, maybe even sixth round.
I'd rather keep Montgomery versus give him up for a fourth or a fifth.
Well, to be honest, look, if there's anything we learned, running backs are a dime a dozen. And we still have Khalil Herbert, who when Montgomery was out, did a
damn good job.
Right, pretty damn good job. I think he could be the running back of the future for sure.
Right.
So losing Montgomery for picks, especially if we're in a full scale rebuild, doesn't really look that bad right now.
It doesn't really look that bad. And obviously, like you said, Khalil Herbert in the zone read option, in the zone running game that the Bears are gonna have with what's his name? What's his offense with Getsy? Should be suffice enough to have some type of success there. Look, Ryan Poe said himself, and definitely in during the draft combine, that he's gonna be the second, third wave guys in the free agency market, and there's still a lot of guys in the free agent market out there that the Bears can sign. Obviously there was a lot of rumors with Christian Kirk. There was a lot of rumor with him coming here. There's still a slight possibility in Devontae Adams, simply because he said that he didn't want to play in the franchise tag.
They're not going to trade. The Packers won't trade him in the same division. The Packers are going to trade him. It's going to be in the AFC.
It's no trade. He's a free agent, homie.
No, he's signed. He's signed. They not signed. I'm sorry, he's not signed.
He's tagged.
He's tagged, bro.
He's tagged, but
he's guaranteed this season, right? He's at least guaranteed this season.
Just because I don't know, man. I mean, he could be tagged. That's fine, but if he doesn't sign, he's an unrestricted free agent, man. Just because you're tagged doesn't mean
the way the franchise.
If you're tagged and don't sign, then you got to wait a full year until you're a free agent.
Right. The way
that's what happened with Le'Veon Bell.
Maybe. That's how it goes. Oh, see, I didn't know.
The Packers have three options. The Packers only have three options with Devontae Adams. Either they keep him on the franchise tag, which they're just gonna cost them more money than they would if they sign him, which is the second option. Sign him. The thing is, they don't have cap space, so if they're gonna sign him, it has to be to a team-friendly deal. That's not what he wants. The third option: trade him before he becomes a free agent, or unrestricted free agent. Because if that's the case, then you're screwed. Because then you lose him for nothing. And the Packers, if they're not going to trade him to a division rival, I don't even think they're going to trade him to anybody in the same conference. If they're going to trade him, he's going to go to the AFC with all those great quarterbacks over there.
One year deal and stuff like that.
They're trading for everybody right now.
I mean, hey, look, I'm over here trying to see. I'm still trying to find the free agent list right here myself.
The Bears, though, it's going to be a tough year. Yes, we have some talent on the team, but people like Mooney, you're going to be wide receiver one by default.
Yeah.
Herbert, let's say Montgomery does go, Herbert's running back one by default. But where does he rank amongst the league? Where does Mooney rank amongst the league? Where does Cole Kmet rank amongst the league?
We don't know.
They're all, first.
We don't know where Herbert can. We don't know where Herbert can be realistically until he plays a full year, and I think he has the potential to be maybe not top.
I don't think top 10.
But he'll be in the mid. He'll be a solid running back. Bro.
So where do you rank Montgomery right now?
Oh, Montgomery has top 10.
So then why would you get rid of him?
Well,
why would you get rid of him for somebody that's top 20?
So if you're in a full scale rebuild, the greatest assets you have is what's going to get you back.
That's true, but Montgomery's contract is still cheap because he's still in his
it's still
contract.
cheap, but running backs, as I said, running backs are expendable. There's always going to be someone else there. You know what I mean? And
right.
That's the thing. The bad thing about running backs, there's always going to be somebody else. You know what I mean? And you can get a running back for even cheaper because even though he's cheap now, who knows when this team's going to be ready to compete?
Okay, well,
by then, are you really going to pay someone who's older?
But what if Montgomery shines this year and let's say because he's on a crappy team, he makes it to the Pro Bowl, then trade him. Trade him when he's at his highest. Right now, he's not at his highest.
I don't know. I think it's pretty.
Keep him around.
I think it's pretty.
I think we should keep him around one more year.
But then,
I wouldn't mind. I mean, look, whether we keep David Montgomery or not, whether we keep David Montgomery or not, I honestly do believe. Whether his value is probably as high as it can be this year. So if you get the right offer, cool, right? But if you don't, cool, keep him. I mean, I don't think there's nothing wrong with keeping him if you don't hear the right offer.
I don't think a fourth or a fifth isn't the right offer. Not for Montgomery.
I mean, but the running back, how the running back market really is. I mean, getting a fourth or a fifth round draft pick, or if you get multiple, a fourth and a seventh, I think that's still value for a running back. No matter how, I mean, it's not. You're not getting Ezekiel Elliott. You're not getting Derrick Henry. You're not getting that. You're not getting that type of running back. You're getting.
They even room to stopping Zeke.
Look, we get it. We're Bears fans. We want to rank everybody higher than usual. But let's be honest. Like you said, David Montgomery, a top 10 running back in this league. Okay, great. But if you get a fourth round pick and maybe another sixth or seventh round to go, if you get multiple draft picks for a running back where a position is not valued as much, then that's a trade you're willing to take.
Okay, you got to take into consideration he's top 10. He's young still. He has a cheap contract. You could at least get a third for him.
Look, if you could get it, great. I'm not saying that. Like, if you get a third round draft pick to go along with it, great. I'll take it in a heartbeat, right? But again, I won't be surprised if you get a multiple pick, like a fourth and a seventh, or a fifth and a sixth, or something like that for a David Montgomery, because a draft pick, because giving up a draft or getting draft pick for a position that is not valued that high, it's still a good trade back, anyways, for the Chicago Bears if you do get that.
Not if it's a bust of a draft pick.
I mean, look, regardless, I mean, anything in the fourth, you're taking a gamble. You're taking a gamble that late, anyways, regardless, whether if it's a fourth or fifth round pick.
But you have a proven top 10 running back. Why would you gamble him on somebody that might not even make it to your roster?
Running backs are dime a dozen.
About Jordan Howard, we got rid of him. We were like, who's the hell David Montgomery? Then he proved something. We felt the same way about
and now we got David Montgomery, and then we have
Forte's different. We haven't had a running back like Forte.
Right, but
again, the position of the running back has been slowly declining for the last 10 years.
Why? Because I get what you're saying. So because he's so good, you can fleece somebody for a third or maybe even a second.
Again,
Don't settle for a fifth or sixth.
If you could do that, great. But no team can do that. And if you get multiple picks for David Montgomery, no matter if it's the third, the fourth, or multiple picks, fifth and sixth, or fourth or something like that, if you get multiple picks for him, I wouldn't mind doing it.
I'm not trading a top 10 running back for a fifth and a sixth. I'm not doing it.
If
those guys not even see the field next year.
If the names aren't Derrick Henry or Ezekiel Elliott, I will not give up no more than a second round pick for them. If I don't hear those two names,
I'll take
a third. I said I'll take a third from Montgomery.
I'll definitely take a second from Montgomery.
But I'm not taking.
Wouldn't take a second from Montgomery. I'm not saying that, guys. I'm not saying I wouldn't take that high of a draft pick if a team is willing to give me a second round.
But you're willing to trade up for 2 low picks.
Again, guys, you have to understand the fact that the running back position isn't valued like before. So if I can get 2 multiple draft picks in the lower rounds for David Montgomery, I would. If somebody was willing enough to give or dumb enough to give me a second round pick and another low pick, I'll take the second round pick in a heartbeat. But again, what I'm saying for the Bears in this season, we need to stock in drafts. We need draft capital. The highest, if I could get a high bid for David Montgomery, great. But remember, guys, if your name is not Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, or Ezekiel Elliott, and I can't think of another running back, if you're not those names, guys, anything fourth round draft pick, guys, is or third or fourth or multiple low picks, I wouldn't mind giving up for.
Say hi to Instagram, everybody. This is the Jca Sports podcast. I guess it's safe to say the Chicago Bears are not going to be relevant this season.
Or the season after. We're not going to be relevant to move to Arlington. How about that? That's what will be relevant. When we get a new stadium, we finally can spend money on big players. or we develop our players that we're drafting these next 2-3 years, then that's what will be relevant. Because let's say, this is just me speaking, let's say Fields isn't an all-star quarterback in 4 years. I think we still keep him just because we've been on full rebuild. He's been a part of the rebuild. You got to stick it out. I think he'll be enough to keep around and re-sign, but I don't think in 4 years he's going to cash out on a big payday from the Bears. Or in 5 years because you can pick up his 5th-year option.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
You know what? I think the Bears could actually compete next year, to be honest with you.
Oh, fuck out.
You just said earlier they'll probably win 5 games.
I said next year. Not this year. Next year.
Oh, well, yeah. In the NFL.
Next year because we have $123 million in cap space to spend.
In the NFL, it's a lot easier in the NFL to turn it around in 1 year than any other sport.
For sure.
Yeah, we just got to call Tom Brady to come. Tell him bring Gronk. Tell him bring Antonio Brown.
All right, now you're stupid. Now you're just being dumb, dude. No, I honestly do believe that the Bears can be good with this regime next year. This year, I think we'll probably see what Poles and Eberflus really brings to the table. Probably competitiveness into this team, and again, we'll probably have a good enough team to probably be in most of these games, anyways. Will we win is a whole different story. Obviously, you have to play the game, obviously, duh. But I honestly do feel wholeheartedly that by next year, the Bears will be in competition for a playoff spot if they still keep it the same playoff format.
Wild card, probably. We're not going to be close to winning the division while Rodgers is still here.
I mean, look, I honestly believe Rodgers will probably have this year, and then next year is probably you'll see the decline.
He just won back-to-back MVPs, bro. He's not slowing down at all.
I honestly do believe that Aaron Rodgers will be on a decline after this year. Mark my words.
I'm
saying it right now.
That's cap right there.
Regardless of the fact, we're on a rebuild, guys, and it doesn't look very promising anytime soon. But this is the JCA Sports Podcast. Thank you all for listening. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter at JCA Sports. For Jonathan Pelayo, Eric Avila, my name's Jose Contreras, and guys, we'll be back next Monday, guys. We'll have a lot to talk about. March Madness starts tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. Who do you guys have? Duke winning, going all the way, or what?
My bias says Duke, but I can see Gonzaga winning it all.
Who you got, Eric?
Kentucky.
Oof. Kentucky. I have Duke. I have Duke and Wisconsin in the finals. So we'll see what happens.
Nice.
That's who I got. I got Duke and Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, really? Huh? I think Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin only gets out of the first round, and that's it.
Wow.
I really do believe. I think the third seed is a little too high for them. I can see them getting out of the first round, second round. I could kind of see them getting bounced after the second game. I mean, after the first game. But I mean, at their second game. There you go. Let me get my words right, guys.
All right. Regardless of the fact, guys, thank you for listening to JCA Sports Podcast. For Eric, for John, my name's Jose. We will be back next Monday. Every Monday, Wednesday, we're here live. So yeah. Right. See.
Yep.
Hey,
sure, guys.
Barcelona, Real Madrid.
Nah, man. No. Liverpool all the way. Sorry.
Oh my God. Play the outro.
Oh, for real? I was about to end it again.
See y'all next week. Have fun. Have a great weekend. Good luck betting, guys. Go Kentucky.
Go Kentucky.
What a finish!
Wow, that is unfreaking believable. What a way for a ball game to end.
Oh, that's what happened. Oh, that's terrible. My God. The humanity.
They may be the drunkest couple in the history of sporting events.
I loved his face.
I would suspect that man is done for the night. Here's the thing. When you steal something, don't wear it.